Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Taking it back to the 90s.
Taking it back to my birth years.
All right, so I see you have two pictures of Jesus behind you. I just noticed that. Or is that two different people?
It's two different people.
Oh, okay.
It's Jesus
What's
and
the
Mary.
other one? Oh, it's Mary? I can't tell. Mary on the left?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're very
my
small.
left.
So.
But...
Yeah, well, there you go. Now you get a better view.
All right.
I can bring him closer if you want.
No, that's fine.
If you want me to preach.
I don't need to be touched by it. So, how's Texas been?
It's getting hot, which is, usual Texas. We had hail last week, which is also usual Texas.
I had hail this morning, actually.
Yeah, but what's your temperature right now?
Actually, it got pretty hot today. It wasn't like 80 degrees, but it was probably, I'd say like 70 almost. Okay. Probably like low 70s to high 60s. And
so that's pretty warm.
But this morning it was colder. And my cat was on the porch, our back porch, if you remember how that's set up. And he goes over there, he jumps on the neighbor's porch and pisses them off, which is cool. And
like a good cat?
Yeah. Oh, he was stuck on our porch. He doesn't jump down from it, so he just stays there, and he was like freaking out because it started hailing, and he was just stuck on the porch while Kelsey was doing a online teaching course. Yeah, he's like, just let me in. It's pretty funny. The fucking cat. I like my cat, but in general, I don't like cats. So it was kind of nice to see him suffer for a second. But it got better.
The little jerk deserved it.
Sometimes, yeah, he could be annoying. He's not bad though. For a cat, he's actually pretty good.
For a cat,
I don't
want to get
cats.
a dog at some point.
I do too. I want to move to Dallas, real bad. I bring it up quite a bit. So like 3 times, I think, maybe 4 times today. I have Silas on my side, my son, for anybody listening. But we both kind of harassed my wife about it.
Good, keep going. Come.
Well, Silas likes a bunch of YouTubers, and basically if they don't live in California or if they're from a foreign nation, he says they basically live in Dallas or Nashville.
That's where everybody's located?
Yeah, it's Texas, California, or abroad. So he's like...
Right.
Which everyone's, fleeing California, so...
Yeah,
Although
exactly.
right now, California has really low rates for the coronavirus, so I'm not sure. Yeah.
I guess everybody's just staying at home and
well, it's that
sitting in their
also,
mansions and everything.
It's that, and then L.A. for whatever reason. I mean, I was watching a Rogan episode not too long ago, and he was saying they had like 30 deaths that day, which was high for them. In Jersey and New York, I mean, maybe I misheard him. It sounded like he said 30. Even if it was 300, it was a 3 at the beginning. And New York and Jersey are substantially higher. I mean, right now it might be
I know
lower.
New York is horrible right now.
Well, I mean, if you look at how like Dallas or Los Angeles are built, they're big, but they're spread out, Whereas New York is just stacked. So you're gonna spread it. It's probably the worst place to be for something like this would be New York or
right where when you move 3 feet to your left and you're bumping elbows with somebody. Yeah,
it's a terrible place for not. I mean, there's no social distancing. You're on top of each other.
Yeah,
I really like New York when I go there, but I think I would like to live there. Not now, obviously, but. I just think it's very interesting. There's always something going on. It's a fun spot. There's a ton of stuff to do, and I like to do comedy, so there's a ton of comedy there. But otherwise, I could see where it would become quickly and easily depressing to just be in the concrete jungle, and you're just stuck.
Yeah.
And like you look around, there's no real nature unless you're close to Central Park, which is really expensive. So I could see where it'd be very off-putting or sad.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there several times and it was always very interesting and exciting to do different things, but I definitely would not want to stay there for an extended period of time. It's
I could see
because
it
of that.
old
Exactly.
quick.
It's just so great.
If you're like young and single and grinding at a specific career, I could see it being very beneficial. But
Right.
otherwise, like I want to go to Dallas because comedy is great in Dallas. You're spread out. There's tons of nature. Dallas is kind of like the suburbs of cities from what I've been reading up on. It's a city, but unless you're in the shit, it's kind of like you're in a community. Like you feel like you're in like a neighborhood. It's not stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, it's definitely a very different feel. Very different.
I mean, I grew
not
up in
bad.
Florida. I think I told you that before, so
Yeah.
I like it.
So-
I like it down south. I like the vibe. I like how everything's kind of more relaxed. You can be busy, but you don't have to constantly be rushing. You can be busy without rushing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, though the drivers here, you'd never guess they weren't rushing.
Which is weird coming from a PA driver. I mean,
I know,
I'm pretty sure when
it's
you guys get your
scary.
license, they just hit you in the head with a brick and say good luck. You guys are the worst.
It's scary that these people, these Dallas drivers, make Pennsylvania drivers look safe. It's
I
really kind of
remember,
scary.
I think I was still living in Florida, but I had experienced snow a couple times, like visiting up where my family was, up where I live now in Jersey and stuff.
Okay.
And it snowed for 20 minutes somewhere in Texas, and it was gridlock traffic.
Headline.
With like 20 accidents. It was horrible. They had no idea what was going on. It was like the worst thing that ever happened to them. But
It's kind of amazing. They get like there was a whole thing where I think it was earlier this year. There was going to be like 2 inches of snow, and all the officials were coming out talking about we're going to get the salt trucks out. We're going to be ready. We're going to be prepared.
Salt
It was like this
trucks?
whole ordeal. It was
salt
hilarious.
trucks for what? Just wait till morning. Just stay home for 10 hours.
It was
Not
it was
even.
very funny. I was laughing. Everybody else was talking about, oh, you gonna be ready for the snow? Yeah, and I'm just sitting there.
Well, you
just
live over
laughing.
in like Irvin or Irvine?
Irving.
Irving?
Yeah.
With a
Irving.
G? Which is right outside of Dallas, correct? So,
Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah, that's what I saw
Like
when I was
15
looking
minutes.
into it. Yeah, so that whole area is basically just immigrants from Los Angeles. So they're not. It's not. You're from PA, but most people are coming from, 4 hours left on the map. So they're not used to snow and stuff unless they're like super northern Californians, which are basically not the same people. They're basically like from Washington up there. They hate everybody. They're just cold
Is that
and
how that
miserable.
works?
Yeah, they're cold, wet, and miserable. Everyone down south is attractive and warm.
Whatever you say, man. I'll take your word for it.
I'll take yours. You live there. But, well, I guess moving on, not entirely, but same general topic is, being as I have you on here and it is supposed to be a podcast, not just me and you catching up, is you work in retail and you're a butcher or now a meat manager, correct? So
Yeah.
what's that been like? It's slowed a bit, right? Not as bad now, or?
No, it's actually quite the opposite. Because all the restaurants are closed, everybody's cooking at home, so grocery stores are doing like double the normal business.
That's kind of good for you guys.
Yeah.
But,
it's nuts. Like, the sales are through the roof right now. So
I remember I saw Jay, who was a friend of ours, who we did a film, Ingeniuses, which I guess I can link in the description.
check it out.
Yeah. He was he made it difficult because heroin, but aside from that, he's a good guy. He just had some issues, and
As we all do.
yeah. Well, no, not me.
Well, I do.
I might be an
have my
alcoholic.
issues.
I don't know, but I'm not a heroin addict.
We're gonna figure that out.
Or my wife will just take a beating every once in a while and get over it. But he was he's working in the meat in the meat industry now in a grocery store, and I saw you commenting earlier today on Facebook how he's been getting off earlier. So around where I am, although you are closer to Dallas, which is an actual city, I live more suburban, urban, not urban, but suburb type area.
Yeah.
We seem to be slowing down in terms of grocery.
Seems to be calming a bit.
Yeah, I mean, because Jay's been saying how he's been getting shorter days at work, and you seem to be...
Well, I mean, it's not as bad as it was when it first started. The first few weeks when the virus arrived to Texas or whatever, when people started
when they started talking about it is what really happened.
Yeah, when the media started hyping it up, pretty much. So it's not as bad as it has been, but it's still... I mean, it's still, I want to say, like a 25, 30, 35% increase in sales on a regular basis, and on weekends it's close to the double.
What's going to be weird is when all this blows over finally and everything goes, basically back to
normal.
And then you're going to be bored because you guys are going to get used to the workload, and then you're going to get lazy, and then it's going to ramp up again next season. And you're like,
well,
and start complaining about
right
the work.
now, I could live with getting 2 days off in a week again. Like that'd be really cool.
Well, you always kind of
7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
I feel.
Really sucks.
I would imagine. I mean, I mean, what were we working at Save a Lot when we worked together? It was.
You were doing.
I had 2 days off, correct?
Like, yeah, you were doing like 36 to 40 in that range, and I was usually like topping out at like 36.
I tried to make sure I didn't have to work more than I had to there. That was part of my stipulation to coming back. Because the first time I worked there, I was working 6 to 7 days a week for basically no reason.
There'd be random weeks where we get busy and you'd still work your normal, and then I'd end up working like 46 hours because I would pick up the extras because you just were not interested.
No.
So mostly I worked less than you, but then there were random weeks where I would like get 10 more hours than you did.
That's how
and
it
then,
works.
of course, the next day was like, what the hell is this?
I was salary. You weren't, right?
Well, you weren't salary early on, and then they
I was salary when I came back. I thought I was salary when I came back.
No. And then, because you came back the one day furious because they had switched you to salary and not told you about it.
Oh, probably because I worked extra.
Yeah, you got overtime, and they were like, "Oh, we're not paying for that."
So that's what happened. I was working, and I would start doing overtime, and then they didn't want to pay me for it. So then I was, all right, I'm going to start working less. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fuck that place. They got what they deserved. Suit's a great place for anybody listening. It has great discounts. Just,
it was a rough experience, but I also learned a lot there. I mean, that's where I got started. So I have good and bad memories of that place, honestly.
I mean, I do to an extent. Mostly
we met.
bad, but yeah. So like I said, mostly bad, but wasn't too bad. I
will
guess.
hang up right now.
That's
right
fine.
now.
I could still post it. It's not a big deal. Moving on from the Corona, just to stick on it for one more little subsection. Sure. In Dallas, or from what you could tell in Texas in general, is it as bad as it seems to be everywhere else? Because talking to you, it doesn't seem as bad.
My experience is I've met one person who knows somebody who had it. That is the closest that I have personally come to anybody, is I know somebody who knows somebody else who has it or had it.
That makes sense. I mean, I know some people, like Kelsey has a girl she went to college with, and her dad passed from it. He had some, other issues, but that's what topped it off.
Yeah,
and we know.
I know that it did ramp up. There was a couple weeks where there was a bunch of cases piling up, but it really, hardly anybody that I know had to stay home from work. The one guy I know had to quarantine for 2 weeks because his wife had it. But he didn't get it, even though they lived together.
Well, he probably
never
didn't
got
have it. He just was asymptomatic, maybe.
Well, he went and got tested, and he didn't have it.
Oh, jeez, that's weird.
So he was living with his wife, who came home, felt sick, went and got tested and had it. Then he went and got tested and didn't have it, and he's starting work again tomorrow. So
well, whatever. Whatever works, I guess.
So I mean,
it's such a weird
really
virus.
haven't. It's very weird, and I don't fully understand it, but it really doesn't seem.
I don't think anybody understands it at all. I've been seeing more and more about. Have you seen the whole theory about it coming from a lab in China?
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
It doesn't. But at first it was shot down, and now it's seeming more and more
like it's
like
very
that's
possible.
what happened. Which makes sense to me, and
and I think it's still unclear whether it was, like a rogue employee did something, or whether it was an accident or what.
What I've been hearing was it wasn't like a bad intent kind of thing. It was more like they were working on how to prevent diseases like this, and it somehow slipped out, which could be a negligent employee or something like that. But they weren't trying to do biological warfare, which, some of the conspiracy theories are like, oh, that's because Trump and the restrictions or whatever on China, although it attacked everywhere before here, really. So I don't know. There's a bunch, but I definitely could see it coming.
The problem is, if you look at China's history, it's just like them doing horrible things to their citizens is not out of the realm of possibilities. So that's...
No, you saw the thing, if someone had it, it was like that. Well, you don't watch Monty Python, but there's a Monty Python movie. I want to say it's Life of Brian, but it could be Holy Grail. And there's a guy going around with a wheelbarrow with bodies on it. He's like, "Bring out your dead," like ringing a bell. And then they throw a body on it. He's like, "But I'm not dead yet." And they hit him in the head. He's like, "Shut up." And that's basically what China was doing. They were apparently burning people alive and shit. Like, it was... Which, I mean, that sounds like China to me. I mean, they're like the biggest thefts of intellectual property and...
Well, I mean, we know that they were covering it up and not letting anybody know that it happened.
Well, obviously, because they didn't tell us until, what, January or so?
Yeah, it was like, this thing that everyone could have prepared for if we had told you early on? It's too late now. Now you're all screwed.
Apparently, it had gotten here in, November, or maybe even before, by, a month or two. So...
Oh, I didn't know that, but...
That's what I had heard on... I mean, it's all podcasts I watch. Granted, that's probably more reliable than an actual news source.
Most, yeah.
So, I don't know, but it's been weird. It's been weird because, I mean, I started being a stay-at-home dad before all this, so for me, it wasn't too weird at first. And then I went out to go shopping, and everyone's wearing a mask, and I'm just like, I guess I'll wear my hoodie backwards and buy alcohol.
Well, it's so weird now. It's like, usually you walk into an establishment, like a gas station or whatever, wearing a mask, you're going to get shot, at least here in Texas. Now it's like you're going to get shot if you don't have a mask on.
We saw issues with that, right? There's people who have been going to door stops and ringing doorbells and stuff, and they're wearing a mask. And so you answer it, and they start trying to rob you. I mean, criminals are criminals, but not all criminals are stupid. They understand an opportunity. That's why I started showing my son how to shoot. And we've been practicing with the bow, and then my dad has a 22, and my mom has a 12 gauge next door. I'm trying to get my 12 gauge from my uncle and just teach my son a little bit and just have it ready because you never know. I mean,
you never know. Yeah, better safe than sorry.
We live in a rural area.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too. Is I was explaining to a friend of ours who's military how I grew up with guns and I was fine for a long period of time, but now I'm at the point I started bow hunting as opposed to rifle, except for on occasion. And now I'm almost at the point where I'm uncomfortable with a rifle. I know when I pull the trigger, it's gonna be loud, and I don't really want the kickback. I'm not comfortable with it, and I'm not opposed to it. I just don't feel comfortable, and I don't want my son to feel that way, and I don't want to feel that way either. So, especially in a time like this, it's a good time to be comfortable maintaining a weapon and using it. Yeah. So I don't know. It's crazy. I know that I was going to take the stimulus check and buy an AR, but I didn't. I was really considering it just to be like, fuck you. But I didn't. I bought a drum set
Well,
instead.
it's amazing how the outrage that there went out about how hard it was to buy a firearm. You hear all about how easy it is to buy firearms, and then this whole thing starts, and everyone wants a gun. And it's like, what? I have to wait for a background check? What is this crap?
Yeah, it sucks, right?
It's like people meet the real world.
I mean, I don't disagree with a background check, but
No, I don't think
background
it's a
checks-
problem. I think it's perfectly fine.
I just think
I'm
the
just saying,
background
people
checks
thought
take
it was
a long
so easy.
time. Well, when I did like Lyft and Uber, I had to wait on a background check, and it takes like a week. And I feel like it should all be online, right? I mean, how's that not just? How's that not just?
I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't understand
Well,
why.
I'm assuming the government's
week.
involved, so it's always going to take a while.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while. Somehow I'm gonna pay extra for it, and then
convenience fees left and right.
Yeah, somehow Planned Parenthood is funded. I don't know. It's just how's this working into my gun right?
I really want a handgun at some point. That's because I have a rifle, but I'd like to get a handgun of some kind. I just haven't decided exactly what yet.
I definitely cannot get one in Jersey. I mean,
yeah,
you can.
That's why you need to move to Texas.
I would like to. You can apparently get a handgun in Jersey. It's just really difficult for whatever reason. I know a guy who has open carry. I mean, he owns like 3 businesses in New York, and so I think there's like loopholes there. Especially like I know people who have like ATMs and stuff. Well, if you have like big amounts of money that you're moving, you're allowed to. There's some thing that you have to defend yourself.
Okay, so you just have to get rich.
Well, I'm sure that's part of it. I don't want to blame it on being wealthy though. It's just if you have to move amounts of cash. Like I know a guy who owns a restaurant, and I work for him occasionally, and he has a Magnum that he carries, but he also has a ATM business, so he's moving massive amounts of cash. So you're gonna want something. I mean, it makes sense. It's part of the job. So
definitely,
I don't know, but Jersey, it's difficult. New York, it's not as hard, but it's not easy. PA, obviously, up where I am, is the easiest. Texas is like they just give it to you when you're born.
You cross the border, you're like, here you go. Here you go.
Yeah, it's the best thing. A well-armed society is a polite society.
Welcome to Texas.
Well, I'm going to Texas. But my experience shooting...
I actually had a guy get out of his car with a gun stuck down his pants and like start screaming at me within 2 weeks of moving here.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't feel too threatened because if he just moves the wrong way, he's gonna blow his balls off. It's like, why are you sticking down your pants?
Get this. He got out of his car. Traffic was stopped at a stoplight, but he got out of his car in the middle of traffic, started screaming at me through my car window with a handgun down his pants, down his sweatpants. And then saw that the light had gone green, decided he wanted to leave, got back in his car and drove off. And he was mad at me because I had merged in front of him, and he almost hit me because he was doing like 40 above what the speed limit was. So I looked in my mirror, I was like, oh, yeah, he's still like way back there. And then I merged over, and I'm like, oh, crap, he's about to hit me.
I have to take into account that this is coming from a PA driver and that maybe he wasn't in the wrong. And it was probably your fault coming from Pennsylvania.
No, it was not my fault. You've been in the car with me. I do check my mirrors.
I said go straight, and you're like, what straight? I'm like, just forward.
Well, you say go straight, and there's like 3 directions. It's like a giant roundabout.
It was straight. It's just not lateral.
No, there was like straight and slightly left, or there was straight and slightly right. Straight ahead, there was a building. I'm like, which way? They're both one ways. They're both going straight.
Literal instruction to drive, Marcus. You're dangerous behind the wheel.
If I had obeyed you, I would have driven into a building. I would have kept going straight.
You sound like the pilots I was directing. I sought clarification. Took you a second,
I was definitely not in the wrong. I was being very careful because someone had already taken my bumper off my car in a parking lot. So I was already on edge.
My brother did that in a parking lot, and he came
No,
home
I'm literally
all mad.
backing out of my parking space, and somebody just goes and took my bumper off.
My brother came home all pissed off. He had to buy a new bumper because he got his bumper ripped off in a parking lot. He was the one who backed into another car.
I didn't back into anybody. I was backing out, and I'm pretty sure she must have been texting. Because
probably happens quite often.
She was doing like 20 in a parking lot, didn't brake at all, and just took the bumper clean off. It was awesome. That was my other welcome to Texas. And then, a couple of days later, somebody guts out and threatens me with a gun. So, but I have had no incidents since then. In the next 3.5 years, I've had 0 incidents. Although I have almost been off the road like 24 times. But as far as like personal confrontations or physical, actual altercations, there's been nothing.
Well, from what I hear, most of the time, people in Texas are pretty friendly because most people have a gun. Well, I was gonna say
everybody
earlier,
sort of has mutual respect.
Well, I should have written. I'm gonna have to start bringing a notepad to these things so I don't forget. But I remember right now. When it comes to a handgun, I did shoot a .45 once. Probably my.
Okay.
I think I shot it twice, and that's my only experience with a handgun. And maybe it's just a .45, although I'm pretty sure it's probably just handguns. Super inaccurate. They're like the most worthless gun ever.
It depends on the gun, but handguns in general, yes, are not accurate.
Mine was like a police issue style, like 45 Glock. My uncle got one and shot on 2 different occasions. I would even take time in between firing. Not just pat, 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 but like waiting to reset.
And
horribly inaccurate. I felt like it was like shooting a paintball gun. Like it just kind of went where it wanted to go, and you have to just kind of hope that it goes where you want it to go.
A lot of it's about proper grip, proper stance. There's a lot that goes into it, but it is definitely much harder than firing a long barrel gun.
We were going over this stance. I had like 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, pistol grip.
Honestly, it may have been something as simple as your hand may not have fit comfortably in the grip. The grip may have been the wrong size, and that can completely throw it.
I was younger, so
I'll shoot one handgun and be fine, and then go to another one and be completely off.
That'd be so aggravating if you bought one and you're like, oh, cool. Not what I need.
And then can't shoot for crap.
Yeah.
That would be very aggravating.
The only handguns I would probably get one Glock style for just personal protection if you're out and about, but I'd be mainly interested in like revolvers, like the Civil War era stuff, like just being able to shoot them for fun. I like them a lot. I like how they look. I like how they sound. They just interest me.
Right.
But they're not really good for any kind of personal protection.
No, not really. That's not really what they're designed for, But my dad had a revolver. I don't know if he still has it. And it was really cool, but it was not particularly accurate because the barrel was really short. It was a short barrel. It's not like a Civil War where the barrel's this
like
long.
A snub nose?
It was one of those really snub,
Yeah.
And it was cool as heck, but the kick on it was because the barrel's so short.
Kick. It's just
kick. So you couldn't hit anything. But then you switch over to a little .22, and it was really accurate.
If you want to make the guy feel weird, If you want to get him to go away, you probably want something stronger. 22 is
what is he wearing? Body armor? 22 is going to get the job done, man. It's not exactly going to just tickle you.
Hey, man, I'd be like, just stop.
Stop it.
Stop it. Well, one more topic I want to get on while I have you here. The main topic, why I think I would want you to be a very regular guest, especially right now is a great time for this, is movies.
Yay!
You like movies. We don't always have the same opinion on movies, but we always agree on what the best movies are, generally. Sometimes for different reasons, but also, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, how I love that movie. After buying it, which also, for anybody who doesn't know, on Vudu, you could buy a movie and they will send you the physical copy. After taxes and shipping, it wasn't as cheap as it seems, but it's still not bad. It's
Okay.
Pretty affordable. I have the Ultra HD. It came with a Blu-ray plus the 4K plus the download,
Oh, wow.
which Vudu, right off the bat, you have the download, so you can watch it immediately anyway. So I like Vudu a lot, actually.
Okay.
I found a flaw. I finally found a flaw in that movie.
Hold on. Is this like the normal 4-hour version, or is this the 10-hour version?
It's the regular. It's the regular. It's in both. It's in every version.
Okay.
Leah Dunham is in it, and I want her to die. I don't like her. I hate her as a human being. I think she's a terrible person.
I think I know who this is.
She was in some show on HBO. You know the guy?
Yeah, okay. But she actually made headlines because she was making a fool of herself online.
Well, she was very social justice warrior, but she would complain about, rape or whatever, which, whatever. Yeah, rape's not good. But she basically raped her sister for years and put it in her, diary. And she's just a hypocrite, horrible person. I don't find her to be a good actress anyway. Kind of think she's very readable. I mean, which I know that you don't partake in this substance, but with marijuana, the worst thing about it I found is that when you smoke and watch a movie, if there is bad acting, you will find it immediately. Immediately. It ruins movies. I've had movies I've loved, and I smoked pot, and I watched it, and immediately I was like, oh, this movie's terrible. Sucks. It's horrible. Oh. You really do. Because she had Adam Driver. That's who her co-star was in that HBO show.
Okay.
And Adam Driver is one of the best parts of the new Star Wars trilogy. I mean, he's fantastic. I've liked him in everything I've seen him in. And I haven't even liked all the movies. I've seen 5 movies, or 6 movies if you count the Star Wars films. 5, 6, maybe even 7 films with him. And
he's always good.
He's always been great. I've never had an issue with him. It's always the movie. And I feel like he's doing well, so I guess it's working out for him. It just sucks to not see him being used as well as he could be, because he really is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, you saw the last Star Wars film, right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I thought it was terrible. But the fact that he goes from being Kylo Ren to Ben Solo, and without any, it's just his acting. It seems like two different people.
The script doesn't give him much, and yet he still manages to pull it off somehow.
He's fantastic.
Somehow.
I bought it. I was so hook, line, and sinker. I was like, I want him to live. But spoiler alert. That whole ending is like, oh, you're going to heal somebody a third time? Oh, no, not the third time. Rule of thirds.
No.
Could you be more obvious? Rian Johnson screwed it all up, and I blame you, because you made me a fan with Brick. And then Rian Johnson came in and just trashed it. He ruined the whole goddamn thing. Because Force Awakens wasn't great, but it had a good setup.
Yes. And then he was like, no, we're going to throw all that away. But you know what? They let him. He ruined it. They let him do that. What is it, Kathleen Kennedy or whoever is in charge? They let him do that.
Look at her. Would she not let him do that? She doesn't know what she's doing.
I don't know what that means, but...
Look at her. She looks like an idiot. They're talking to George Lucas now. George Lucas didn't know what to do. Although, granted, the trilogy, or the trilogy.
The prequel trilogy.
That's actually a good way to put it. The trilogy.
I'm gonna use
he
that.
had an idea. It was just boring sometimes. It was the worst part.
Right.
It was just too political. But he had an overall story. He had an end game. He didn't pick the best actors sometimes, but it was.
Are
it was
you
still
an
good.
angel?
I like how you went with adolescent Anakin and not the rest of Anakin, who is probably the worst part. I could forgive a child actor.
I think he does okay in the third film. I think it's really Attack of the Clones that he sucks horribly.
Angsty. He's very angsty. I don't like sand. It's coarse, gets everywhere. I'm going to kill women and men and children.
Because it apparently makes him feel better. I don't know. It doesn't really seem to help any. But regardless.
Helps me. I've killed so many kids, it makes me feel great.
Rian Johnson's only bad film seems to have been Star Wars, which is really sad. But everything else he's made has been great.
it's not his movie, so maybe he should just stick to his projects.
Stuff
Probably.
that he comes, yeah.
I think
But
the
I mean,
same thing with Abrams.
that's the
To be
thing is,
honest,
though, I think he wrote and directed episode 8. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, which is probably part of the problem. It's a part of a trilogy. It's a team effort. It's not
Yeah.
your movie.
So maybe he's not a team player.
Oh, I also think that with what's his name? I just said it. He
George
did
Lucas.
the first. No, he did episode 9
J.J. Abrams.
Abrams, yeah. Abrams seems like more of a team player, but still more like he should just write and direct a movie. Not. I mean, if it's his own thing, maybe he could do sequels, but otherwise, I'm not into it.
Right. Well, I'd say he's a very good visual director, but I definitely think he could use help in some of the writing areas.
Well, his problem is
his character development can be somewhat lacking.
Well, his TED Talk is really good, and it's about having like a mystery box, and it's kind of like you never seen it, but
I have actually. It was a while ago, but I've seen it.
Well, I'm saying a movie that you probably haven't seen is American Werewolf in London, which you should probably actually watch. I mean, it's a horror film, but you would like it. It's very psychological, and they stress in that movie how your biggest fears. It's like when a movie is made from a book, it's never as good as what you read, because it can never be as good as your imagination. And so the suspense of the werewolf, they don't show it until 1 or 2 frames at the end. And they had a whole mannequin made for 1 or 2 frames. And the whole time you're terrified of what you think it looks like. And at the very end they show it for a glimpse. And that's it, really. And that's what makes it good. The whole movie's based on what you feel and what it might be. And that's what I think a lot of movies are lacking now. They make it very... I mean, even the one Abrams film, is it 9mm? Is that what it's called?
Super 8.
No, Super 8, yeah. 9mm is a Nicolas Cage film, I think. Super 8, they don't show the alien until way later.
Yeah.
And like Lost, which was also Abrams, they don't talk. You never know what's happening until at the end, and then everyone's always let down because it's not what you were hoping. Because you can't please everybody, so you're always gonna. It's never gonna be good. It always if you have to leave it to suspense. So he's the master of suspense and leaving it up to you to think of what it is, but he's not good at bringing it back to reality, which I'm not sure who would be, to be honest, because once you build up audiences' expectations with their imaginations, how are you gonna? It's like reel in everyone's imagination into one thing. It's
very hard. Yeah, I feel like you have to.
Yeah.
The only way I feel like to successfully pull that off would be to somehow twist it in a new direction, so that basically you let them build up their own ideas and then you send it the other way,
and drop it as like a total.
So that now surprise. What you show them is totally different than the thing that they were building up to, so that they're not let down.
Had to be a surprise.
But then also
enough.
What you do give them has to be good, obviously.
Yes.
But if
it's a surprise enough, if it catches them enough off guard.
Right.
That could be cool.
Then it could still be an interesting finale without having to fulfill everything that they thought they wanted. I feel like that's, like you said, once you've built up that expectation, I feel like that's the only way. You have to subvert it, but you have to do it well. And Rian Johnson did not.
No. Well, Rian Johnson didn't really... If you think about that movie, he didn't really build suspense at all. It just was.
I mean, the whole film is basically just 2 ships just floating through space, one shooting at the other and going, their shields are deflecting it, but they can't go into hyperspace. And they're just like...
There are cool scenes. Like when she goes into hyperspace and blows up Snoke's ship, that was...
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, that was cool. I'll give you that. That was pretty cool.
The throne room lightsaber battle is great until you watch it multiple times and find all the errors, but...
It looks cool at first, and then...
Yes. Once you break it down, it's not that great, but he had some moments.
The nice Mary Poppins cameo is very nice.
Yeah.
Not. And they took Poe Dameron and completely trashed that character. They took Finn and completely trashed that character.
They should have let him die. They should have let him die, I think. That would have been the
Die
best.
a hero?
I
feel like that would have been...
When it was going to happen, I was really upset. And that's why they should have done it. Because then they
Right.
literally threw him in the garbage after that. He basically wasn't a character. But this is about the time I'd want to get off. So to round it out and complete this episode, for quarantine's sake, what would you suggest are your top movies, let's say 5 movies to watch right now that are available during quarantine?
Oh, gosh. You talking, like, recent films or just any film?
I would say, yeah. Let's stick to more recent.
I'm
Could be the
going to
last
be watching...
year, but...
I don't know. I'm planning to watch a film that I've seen before but haven't seen in a while. I'm showing it to a couple of friends who have not seen it before, Blood Diamond. I'm going to watch that on Saturday.
I have to rewatch that.
It's an excellent film, but I haven't seen it in several years.
I saw it when it came out, and I was too young to care.
I would recommend rewatching it. It's very good.
I'm going to have to. Is it available on anything streaming? Or just Voodoo
I'm planning
renting?
to rent it on Amazon. I don't know if it's free. To anybody who hasn't seen Knives Out yet, go watch it.
I keep hearing I have to see that.
It's great.
I've
seen it.
I've heard it's great, yeah.
I've seen it, I think, I saw it 3 times in the theaters with different people because I kept bringing people to the theater to see it. And then I've seen it at home a 4th time. And it's even better once you've seen it, you know what's coming. And you can, it's one of those films where once you can pick up all the clues, you go like, oh.
That's cool because The Hateful Eight, I'm guessing you probably haven't seen that.
I have, actually, and I kind of regret doing so.
Yeah, well, the problem with that movie is it's supposed to be like that, but there's no
way to predict the ending.
Yeah.
You go back and you look for clues, and there are none.
It's supposed to be like Clue or something like that, and it's just
not.
It was probably my least favorite Tarantino film, to be honest. And I love Tarantino,
really
but that
disliked that film, and I
agree. I don't like it either.
I'm not always the biggest fan of his films, but usually I enjoy certain aspects of it, and I can see the artistry.
You brought me to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and at the end,
because
the face
I
that
said,
you made,
"Oh my gosh, Preston will love this movie."
Laughing. You were crying, laughing at the end. You're like, I feel
there
bad.
There are some great scenes in that film. It's probably my second favorite of his movies. But the point I was getting to is The Hateful Eight is the only one of his films I've seen that I distinctly dislike.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of it. I like the cinematography a lot.
Looks great.
But otherwise, yeah, the story-wise, it's by far my least favorite Tarantino film. Yeah. What's your second, or what is your first favorite Tarantino film if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the second?
Django.
Okay, that's a good choice.
I
like that, yeah.
Still the one that I go to.
Django is fantastic.
Even though a lot of the stuff he does I don't love, I still love that film somehow. Even though it's too long.
Great movie.
It is too long. It needs to be 30 minutes shorter. But it is still, despite being too long, it is still a great film. It feels like
it ends, and then they tacked on 10 minutes. That's how I feel. Just to round it out and make him like the winner at the end. But okay, so
I see what you're saying. You're saying that'd be a very different ending.
After the mansion scene, it felt like it should end, and all of a sudden he's like imprisoned, and then breaks out, and Tarantino's in the movie because he has to be, and then that whole thing felt tacked on. And I get he's the winner now; he's supposed to be the winner, but yeah,
wearing sunglasses at night and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it should have ended before that. But I have to piss real bad. So,
okay,
you said what was your first movie?
Just watch Knives Out. That's my advice to everybody.
Okay, so would you recommend Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
1917, I feel, is a big top of yours right now.
Oh, I mean, I'm considering it for my favorite war film I've ever seen. I think it's fantastic.
Over Saving Private Ryan?
A lot of people don't seem to like it as much as me. I think it's incredible. I think the nuances, the subtle storytelling.
Most people.
A lot of people love it, but I don't feel like they love it enough. I really don't.
I feel like most people love it for the visuals. I never heard the story brought up much.
That's where I think it's underrated. Is it's very subtle, but the subtlety, and you have to pay attention. And when you watch it multiple times, you pick up on more and more of it. I think it's fantastic, and I really think in 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years, it's going to be studied in film classes. I really do. I think it's that good.
Well, I think it would have to be if it's doing what people say it does visually, like a one-shot entire movie. People talk about like a 17-second scene in that DiCaprio film,
The Revenant.
Revenant. So I mean, if that's a big talking point, or like the Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones, how could an entire movie doing it not be a talking point? I mean, for cinematography, it's got to be a groundbreaking achievement, but
it really is. It's beautiful from start to finish, and again, the subtle nuances of the characters' development. I really think it's an amazing film. It's pretty much a 10 out of 10 for me. I
have to see it.
Incredible.
Do you have Hulu?
I believe so, but I haven't been on
Hulu,
in a while.
There's 11/22/63, the Stephen King book that they made with James Franco, and the kind of like a co-star at a good portion of it would be the same guy who stars in 1917. I did not like him in 11/22/63, but I also didn't find 11/22/63 to be very good acting-wise in general, so it could be a director's thing.
I'd say he's very good. His co-star is even better.
That's what I would have guessed, because
they're both. Don't get me wrong. They're both really good, but the co-star, he really, for me, he steals the show. He's the emotional center.
It's his brother that they're going to go talk to, correct? So,
the guy that you're talking about, he's the one who has a brother who he's trying to save.
Oh, okay.
And then he brings his best friend. He uses like his best friend along with him on this mission.
I have to watch.
And there's some like conflict because it's like it's not this other guy's brother, but he's risking his life.
Risking my life.
Well, he was. Bitch. They were told bring 2 guys or bring one other guy, so 2 of you are gonna go, and he picked his best friend. But there is a point. His best friend goes like, "Why did you bring me into this? You're gonna get me killed."
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that seems like a good spot to stop. So,
sure
I really appreciate it. I'd like to do this again whenever you're ready.
It'd be my pleasure, man. This is fun. I will start with a full Angry Orchard next time. I was pretty much done by the time we got on. I will start with a full one next time. I will
start with a full empty bladder next time.
Come a little more prepared.
Yeah, I'm like, I peed right before the start. I'm about to go again. Like, I'm just like, and there's no bathroom in my basement. So it's just...
So you got to run.
Yeah. But all right. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. It was fun.
Have a good one.
Catch you again soon.